Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor. Somebody still loves me. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. He lost his dukedom, he was stripped of the title of prince, and he's been kicked out of the Royal Lodge at Windsor. Things don't look very good for Andrew. It might be the case that he'll actually have to learn how to make a cup of tea and boil an egg himself. Sarah Fergie Ferguson has decided that she's had enough. She's no longer able to ponce off him, and therefore she's going to move on. And old Randy Andy has been rather cast adrift. Or has he? Because news comes this way that demonstrates that perhaps somebody still does actually love him. And in so doing, it affords us an opportunity, once again, to analyse and understand his narcissism, and also raises certain questions as to if this person is showing Andrew some love, what has he done to deserve it? As reported, the chatter around former Prince Andrew and Abu Dhabi intensified after a tabloid report suggested a lavish overseas offer. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor received an apparent invitation to base himself in the UAE. The former Duke is currently preparing to vacate Royal Lodge and shift to Sandringham. Whilst that is in the background, Andrew's new home speculation now centres on Abu Dhabi, privacy and long-standing Gulf ties. According to the Super Soaraway Sun, and as ever, you can make your own mind up about the veracity of that information, it appears that there's going to be a discreet relocation for Andrew. Apparently, on offer is a 16,000 square foot residence within a sealed Abu Dhabi compound. The property reportedly includes 6 ensuite bedrooms, a gym, a pool, and a cinema. Moreover, a chef-staffed kitchen and service areas support a hotel-style setup. In addition, the enclave uses double-gate screening with government guards and vehicle logging. Only residents, approved guests, and staff with passes may enter. Furthermore, some neighbouring palaces feature helipads and private beach access. The whole area is private and very secure. The public are not allowed in, and there are cameras which log every vehicle which approaches, a palace worker told The Sun. Contextually, the Sandringham shift remains the near-term plan after the Royal Lodge exit. However, Andrew has historic ties to the Gulf from his British business and trade interest days abroad. Observers cite his long friendship with Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The bond began with his 2001 visits as a UK trade envoy. Consequently, an Abu Dhabi base is plausible, and it promises considerable privacy amidst his controversial past. Royal biographer Andrew Morton offered a clear forecast by stating, "I would predict that, if we're speaking about this time next year, Andrew will probably live somewhere abroad." Meanwhile, historian Andrew Lowney stated he would probably be happy living somewhere where the media is muzzled, where he will still be treated as a senior royal. This distance could lower visibility and reduce day-to-day scrutiny. The palace roadmap at the moment points to Sandringham, but could it be that Andrew is going to be shown some love by being offered a property in Abu Dhabi? As Andrew Lowney identifies, that would certainly prove attractive to him. First of all, there is the fact that he would have a very decent property to live in, which for a narcissist such as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, that would accord with his sense of entitlement. He doesn't want to be living in a small cottage. He wants something that is palatial. That's what he's used to. Because even though he's lost the titles, he will still regard himself as a prince. And accordingly, he is not going to alter his demands or expectations in that regard. Of course, if he can't secure them himself, he is going to have to adjust his living accommodation. But with his sense of entitlement and lack of accountability, if somebody comes along and says to him, we're going to offer you a 16,000 square foot residence in a compound, there's 6 ensuite bedrooms, a gym, a pool, a cinema, there's a chef-staffed kitchen and service areas, there's double gate screening with government guards and vehicle logging, he's going to go for it. Because it accords with the grandiosity of his position, even though he's disgraced. Remember, his narcissism will never allow him to accept that what has been done to him was legitimate and appropriate. He is the victim. He is the victim of smears, lies, that his behaviour has been misinterpreted, taken out of context. And therefore, like any narcissist, he will regard the recent downfall that he's experienced as quite simply jolly unfair and indecent. You'll have seen how he doesn't give a shit about the victims of his alleged activities. His car crash interview with Emily Maitlis in 2019 only went to underscore the absence of remorse, which is commensurate with his absence of emotional empathy. Accordingly, somebody offering him a property of this nature would prove particularly attractive to him. And as Andrew Lowney points out, that if he's going to be effectively treated in a similar way to a senior royal out there, because they are not necessarily going to make a particular distinction, that would also prove particularly attractive to the narcissist that is Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Furthermore, as Andrew Lowney also points out, if the media is muzzled, that means that the possibility for criticism is going to be much reduced, something which, of course, is manna from heaven for a narcissist. If he is not going to have local potshots taken at him, so much the better. It affords with the necessity of control. Accordingly, it would seem to my mind that if such a proposal is offered to him, he's going to take it, because it ticks so many boxes in terms of fitting with the prestige that he thinks that is his. It affords the nullification of a threat to control. It allows him the grandiosity that is part of who he is, and therefore proves hugely attractive. The question then becomes, why would somebody offer this to him? Is it because Andrew knows certain information about certain individuals? Possibly, but I think more likely that this would be utilised as a means to then have Andrew in a certain individual's pocket in respect of access to information that could then be used by that person, and that Andrew would then in effect be used as a lieutenant so that he would be sent out on missions, if you will, on the part of this individual. Nobody is just going to give him this property and not expect anything in return for it. There's always a price. And the type of individuals that get themselves to billionaire status so that they can afford to offer compound properties such as this are not shy of exploiting people, including a narcissist such as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. It will come with a cost, and the cost is likely twofold. Access to information that Andrew has, that individual will find useful, and the utilisation of Andrew to do the bidding of that person. This is the price. And naturally, his own narcissism will deem that it is one that is acceptable to him, because Andrew will have no problem in selling out other individuals in order to ensure that he receives a benefit. Accordingly, somebody seems to be showing Andrew Mountbatten Windsor some love, and it'll be interesting to see whether he takes it, likely to do so, and then what the cost is in respect of this. There might also be, of course, a particular consideration in respect of geographical distance. Now, there is an extradition treaty between the United Arab Emirates and the United Kingdom. This came into force in 2008. And it allows for the extradition of individuals for serious crimes, supplemented by other bilateral and international agreements. It allows for extradition for any offence punishable by at least 12 months imprisonment in both countries. You might think, okay, given the allegations that continue to swirl around Andrew and the suspicion that there's more to come out, and there's been recent police investigation, might it be that he would put some geographic distance between himself and the United Kingdom in order to potentially reduce the effect of criminal proceedings? Now, it's not going to prove a bar to him being made to return, because there is an extradition treaty, but it puts in place another hurdle that if such action was taken, and there's no guarantee that that would be the case, it would at least mean that it has another opportunity to counter that threat to control as a consequence of the necessity of navigating the extradition treaty. Thus, there might also be an aspect of putting this geographical distance between him and the United Kingdom because of what might be in the pipeline. What are your thoughts on this potential move? Let me know in the comments section. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.